Cheers.
Cheers. We're here. We just wanted to chat a little bit with everyone after the House Matters Darien Moms panel that Amanda Spatola organized. My name is Betsy Wilson. And
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I think there was just a lot to talk about after that.
Oh yeah.
A lot of hot topics.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think was the most...
Well, gosh, where do I begin? I think we should start by taking a deeper dive into what goes into the process of getting your home ready to be listed and actually listing your home.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say that was, especially, moms with younger kids seemed pretty terrified.
Yeah, so we had the question about, do I really have to give up Halloween and tell everyone that all holidays are canceled and no toys can be in the living room and live like an Amish person? Is that part of listing your house?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes, absolutely. No more holidays.
Yes, away with holidays. No, so I think Betsy and I are probably on the same page about this. Halloween's that question in particular, or Christmas, or any holiday where you have very particular decor, keep it classy and keep it minimal. But it is okay to a certain extent to continue living your life even though your house is on the market. But
I would say though you need to keep in mind certain things. When you stage your house and you prepare for a showing, it is not the same as living in your house. So for example, if you have a Christmas tree and it takes up a third of your living room because it was your life dream to have 10-foot ceilings and get the biggest tree ever, you might want to think about getting a smaller Christmas tree for that year.
It's a good point.
Because people need to see the corners of every room and they need to be able to walk through your furniture and around the room and see moldings, trims, windows, details, the bones of the house.
Yep.
Not all of the decor that you added to it. So you just have to be a little careful, and it's stressful. Like you just went through preparing your house for sale and doing that. It's a lot, right?
Yeah, so I have 3 kids. One is sitting on my lap, and this is Griff, and he's 18 months old. And my oldest is 5. Griff, say hi. And I will say that, kind of to echo what Betsy said, a couple of things to consider. If your house is professionally decorated, that is not the same as staging.
Right.
Interior designers are trained to, layer with texture and pattern and color, and it is intricate and unique to your style. That's not staging. Staging is really to help a potential buyer envision themselves in your home. So sort of, going off of what Betsy said, a big part of that is decluttering and is making your space feel as large as possible. So if we have to kill the Christmas spirit for the sake of selling your home, so be it. And next year we'll kill it with a doubly big tree.
Right. You can get your even bigger tree. But I think you have to think of hiding the reasons why you're moving a little bit. So when you first bought your house, you loved it because, let's say, you're planning on making a bigger family, or you were planning on having grandma move in.
Yep.
But then everybody moves in and everything happens and life happens and you get all this stuff and then you're ready to move because it's too small for you. You need to make it look like what you fell in love with when you bought your house, because that's who's going to buy your house again. So you have to think about what story you're telling. And the decorator tells a story of like layers and elegance and finished, but you want to show that a little bit less layered look.
I would say the decorator tells your story, but what you want is for a buyer to create their own story in their head when they're in your home, so that they say, this isn't Betsy's house, this is my house.
Right.
And I will say, the first step, and I know this is not going to make everyone happy, is decluttering and getting just one of those junk luggers. You can hire a company or do it on your own. And decluttering and thinning out your closets and thinning out your life.
There's nothing that makes me happier than when I show up to a house and there's a pod in the driveway.
Yeah.
Because that means, whoa, these people are serious. They're ready to move. I'm showing this house, and maybe they're motivated to actually make a deal.
Yep.
So, and it shows the buyers that like this person is serious. So, whatever it takes, right?
Yep.
One of the things that I think was the reason that question was asked was the fear and anxiety about it. And I just want to say something that's going to be a little bit scandalous, but what would you do for $100,000? If you could make $100,000 more on your house, would you wake up 20 minutes earlier and clean your bathroom? Would you pick up everything in your living room every day?
Yep.
I mean, you really have to think about that. Those small things, preparing for a showing, making sure your house smells nice, that you didn't cook lunch right before you had a showing. All of those things add up to actual dollars in your pocket. And that's the way to look at it, is like you have a job to do, just like you paid hard, good money to do the roof or paint your house.
Yep.
Staging is part of that job too, that you have to see through to realize those gains.
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
insurance.
Absolutely. So I guess what Betsy and I are saying is, you know, step one is for sure declutter. Declutter. Step two, as far as staging goes, is thinning out your furniture and using what you have. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy new furniture, but you know, lean on your realtor to guide you through what should stay and what should go in that pod or what should go somewhere else. But we want to make your space feel big, inviting.
Corners. Free up your corners.
Free the corners.
But a lot of times all I do is just go to Home Goods and buy more pillows and new shower curtains and help people maybe put a lamp or two in a place that they just never got to it, because you need everything light and bright. But a trip to Home Goods and your own stuff and fresh eyes, sometimes all you need.
Amen, sister.
Yeah. And you know what? There was an Oprah episode a while ago, and she talked about how you go in a room, I think Nate said this, how your furniture was under arrest. And he's like, stop putting everything all up against the wall.
So true.
Like, you gotta pull it back a little bit and make like seating arrangements. Don't just have that room where like everything is lined up around the outside.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
So, all right. What other interesting questions do we want to delve into?
Gosh, there were just so many.
What about the how you pick your realtor kind of questions?
Yeah,
how do you find a good realtor?
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, without being super controversial, because I think a big part of our industry is supporting each other and you know, not tearing each other down. But one thing that really frustrates me, and I'm sure you agree, is people assuming that all realtors are created equal. And that we all sort of, you know, we all have access to the same toolkit, but how we use it is very different.
Right.
So how do you pick your realtor? I'm sure Betsy can say a few things, and then I'll say
Well, I really feel the same way. I feel like there's always room in our industry for great agents, and you know, that we support each other, we work together. So much of great deals is actually how you work with other people. So,
networking.
Yeah, networking and matching other people's style. But
we're okay. Maybe alert. Hold that thought, Betsy.
Okay.
Are you stuck? I know. Come. Let's move your slide.
Having some activities on the slide over here.
Come. Now we have.
Come on, Griff.
Speaking of home decor.
Yeah. This is life. But
this
not
is real life. Okay, go down.
What you doing? So he's off. Oh, there he is in the frame. Okay, so when you think about who you're going to hire for certain things, like your decorator or people you work with, you pick someone who you want to work with.
Right.
I think it's really important for people to pick an agent that matches their style. For selling your house or buying. If you are a super analytical, nerdy person, I'm your person. If you are a touchy-feely and you want to, you know, talk about which direction the house faces and where your crystals are going to go, I'm not your person.
I might be.
Yeah. You have to find somebody who is in line with the way that you think and the way that you process information and the way that you learn. Now, that's style, but I think the point you were making is like the toolbox and toolkit and how you do stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody does something different.
Right. Well, so I think a big piece of listing your house is understanding the strategy that will be applied to actually selling your property. And like I said, every broker has a different strategy, but you know, one thing to ask is, how will you market my property? And that's on the business level. Like, what sort of support does your company offer? What sort of, what sort of tools does your company have? And Betsy and I work for the same company, which is William Pitt Sotheby's International Realty, and we happen to just have been ranked #1 website in the country by Real Trends, which is huge.
Yep.
And to know that your listing will be on our website, the most visited real estate website in the country, I think that's really meaningful. So that's company level. But also, understanding that millennial buyers, and that's the big chunk of buyers in our markets, I would say.
Yeah, well, our area cycles between people growing their families and then downsizing and a younger family moving in. That's part of the suburban.
And Betsy,
lifestyle.
like playing dumb, we'll play dumb for a minute. Like, how do millennial buyers find things?
The internet.
Right. And my favorite analogy is for all of you out there who we call it the shoes that follow you around the internet. That's what our office manager always says. How many of you Betsy, have you ever clicked on a pair of shoes on Zappos and then gone to 7 different websites and looked to the right and those shoes are still there?
I have a vanity that's following me around the internet right now.
Betsy just bought, or is in the process of buying her first home, so I'm sure she has lots of vanities.
So, private searching, if you don't want that to happen.
Yes, yes. But generally speaking, geo-targeted ads, demographically targeted ads, like this is the new way. Getting the right eyeballs on your property, not just eyeballs in general.
Right.
And the way to do that, to sort of optimize that whole process, is really using the internet to your advantage. Now, there are some brokers who don't do that, and there are some brokers who do that. I think that something that Betsy and I could offer that maybe some people can't or won't is the idea that we know what millennial buyers want, we know how to access them, and it is through the marketing that we were just
even
discussing.
something like Instagram stories. Like, not many agents are doing that. Like, I do stories in my open houses, and it's always interesting to me, like, who's looking at them and commenting.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not even like a crazy Instagram person, but you gotta get exposure. I think it's not just using the right tools though, it's the story that you're telling of your house. And I really believe strongly that when you have a listing, you have to tell that story of why your client bought that house in the first place. Right. And that's what, every house has a story and appeals in a different way. Yeah, so you have to tell that and market that. And that's not just on the internet. When you have a showing, showing the house and telling that story, getting the flow of the showings. There's so many details that great agents really do intuitively that they might not be able to explain. But they're just things that happen to make sure that every part of the showing through the whole process is great. It's about managing expectations, I feel like.
And Betsy, I do want to comment on one really interesting anecdote. So Betsy was saying that Instagram stories are kind of a huge thing that people are doing. I actually was just doing an open house in Darien, and I happened to do, I don't know if you caught this, a story of the kitchen, because it's a beautifully done kitchen. And oddly enough, a really good friend of mine from New York City.
Hold on, client call. Okay.
Real life. Oddly enough, a friend of mine from New York City, who I haven't seen in years, saw my story. And she had just had a kid and kind of reached out directly via Instagram and said, send me listing information on this house. This is a real thing that happened. So I posted one picture on a story. Now picture that's your listing. I'm your broker and I'm doing that. I'm hosting these open houses. And while I'm there, I'm optimizing internet eyeballs. That's what I call it. I know it sounds weird. And you can get a real buyer that way.
It's everything adding onto the pile that helps. You never know where they're going to come from. There's stats that show 2% of buyers saw a sign and this and that. You know what? You got to throw it out there. Everything. You got to try every way, because you don't know if the person who's the one is going to be a sign watcher, or they're driving around the neighborhood, or they're on Instagram, or they weren't even looking and they saw it on an ad following them around the internet, or what. So
well, it's like if you were single and hoping to meet the love of your life. It is sort of luck, right? That's the same thing with buying a house.
I always say that it's like dating.
It is dating.
I feel like
right place, right time.
I feel like there's two parts of it. I feel like finding your house is like dating and finding someone. But I also always tell new buyers that are working with me, let's get to know each other. We gotta it's like dating them. I need to learn what you're into, what your likes are, and then we'll get all close. It's very emotional.
Minus the pillow talk.
Yeah, maybe there's lots of pillow talk though.
Well, this kind of pillow talk. These are great pillows. But totally, but even the next phase of that is remember this, selling and buying are part analytical, quantitative, marketing, pricing strategy and all of that, but a lot of it is sheer luck. It is getting the right buyer who, sees the quirks and the idiosyncrasies of your home and loves your home for those idiosyncrasies, because there is no perfect home, right?
Well, I would also say that the experience people have, like, that it's positive, that the weather was good, I will show a house that I think is a perfect match for someone, and if the stars don't align and, like, it doesn't feel right, like, you don't necessarily come back to that house.
Crazy.
And sometimes I'll push and I'll be like, no, we're going back to that house.
Which I think brings us back to full circle, and then we can go on to our next question. Do everything that you can. It's sort of like what Betsy said. What would you do for $100,000 extra in life?
Right.
Just make your house smell good, eat toast for lunch, whatever. Don't make Indian food. I've made that mistake.
Yeah, me too.
I love Indian food, but it really made my kitchen smell strong.
Don't microwave your fish.
Did that.
Before.
Oh yeah, never did that. Don't ever microwave your fish.
Okay, the other thing is, you have to really think that for $100,000, would you ask for help? Like, have your cleaning lady come twice a week if it's just too stressful, or if your schedule doesn't line up, or, get a handyman in. That's another thing I really wanted to talk about that I wish we had said on the panel, that you had brought up. When people ask, like, what do you do to prepare your house?
Get a handyman.
My thing is, don't do the big stuff. Do every single little thing, except leave like one or two of them for the inspection that they're gonna find.
Yes. But
Little
guys, moral of the story, Betsy, right, is this is short term. So yes, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Betsy's not sugarcoating it. It is a little stressful. It is an undertaking. It is a commitment from all parties, including us, by the way, which I reminds me of something else we should talk about. But it's short term. And honestly, the more effort you put in at the beginning, the shorter the term is.
Totally. Be prepared. 100%. Don't fake it and be like, we're gonna test it out on the market.
Go all in and then sell your house quickly and move on.
You wouldn't show up to a date in your second day hair and bad outfit and be like, oh, I'm just gonna see what happens.
I'm gonna save my good outfit for the next date. God forbid there is no next date because your hair looks all messy. Yes, amen, sister.
Totally.
Give it your best.
Yep.
First impressions are everything.
Yeah, totally agree.
Cheers to that.
I know.
All right, what else should we talk about here? Do we even go into pricing? That's just one of my favorite topics.
I know. I feel like in the market, pricing is a specific topic right now.
Okay, well you let us know if you have questions.
Write in anything you want us to talk about. We'll do this again. And get into all of those hot topics and the things you really want to know, deep dark secrets. We'll tell you our tips.
I have one that I shared with. So on our panel we had an amazing interior designer and an amazing architect. And I remember Catherine Spilling as the architect. She and I were kind of going back and forth about our respective industries, and it came out that it's not just the seller, the lister, the listee. Who has to make a big commitment to the process. It's also the realtor. And I said, let me give you an example. Most of the marketing done, and I don't know how many of you know this, is out of pocket for a realtor. So if Betsy is my realtor and she lists my house, guess who pays for all the professional photos? Betsy. Okay?
Yeah, before the house sells, up front.
Up front. It is the risk that we take. So And Catherine was blown away by that, and I think it's important for people to know. It's the way it is, and it's a risk we're usually willing to take on because if we're good at our job, we will recoup that in a sale.
I don't think of it as a risk. I say to people, I'm only going to commit to this job if I know that I can accomplish the goals.
Sure.
And these are the things that accomplishing those goals requires. These are the things required to do that. One is price. One is the marketing strategy. There's different things. Sometimes I'll say, I only take this listing if we can improve this one part or fix this issue with the house, or but it's a team effort.
It is a team effort. It's a commitment from all sides.
Yeah.
So
for the biggest purchase of your sale of your entire life, and the most intimate thing. I mean, it's your home. It's where your personal memories are. You're emotionally tied to it. It's a lot. But we're here for you.
We're here for you.
Totally.
We do.
All right, ask your questions. Put any comments down. We want to know what you want to talk about, and we'll do this again.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.